Hey everybody, Angelo here. Welcome to Sexual Persona Part 4, where we discuss the fusion to the sexual persona. The fusion meaning the commitment, the gluing to the notion that someone is a top or a bottom and nothing else. That anything else is no longer possible. This is called a fusion. The person is fused with the sexual persona through the mechanism of a shared fantasy. So this is what we're going to cover now. If you haven't watched part 3, we covered this entire sequence of psychological situations that happen to you, to gay men, when they become sexual personas. So if you haven't watched part 3, go back, watch that to learn all about that. In this video, let's explore the idea of a fusion to the sexual persona, because if you noticed, there's so many gay men become bottoms, but they don't return to being tops before if they were tops before. So have you noticed that? Tops become bottoms and they don't go back to being tops. So there are more bottoms out there, so few tops, because once the person becomes the sexual persona of a bottom, there's also fusion that's going on here. Many complex mechanisms that we haven't had words to describe, but today we have those words. It's called a fusion, this hidden, unconscious commitment to be a bottom forever. And not even conceive a possibility that someone can love you, adore you, if you are not a bottom, someone else, or something else, or none of those, and just yourself. You see? So learning about this is really critical. So the fusion is this hidden commitment, unconscious commitment to say, yes, this is who I am, this is how it's going to be, and nothing else matters. Here you see this with these two guys sharing this sexual fantasy. But for this fantasy to work, for this to be a shared fantasy, this has to become almost like hypnotic. So this hypnotic nature of it is established by first the presence of the sexual persona, and then giving that persona the power to be in charge, and then having the relationship being run by that sexual persona that then becomes part of this shared fantasy. Sexual fantasies are incredibly common and often very healthy to have. But if the sexual fantasy becomes taken by the sexual persona, we have a fusion that is very powerful to break. It's basically telling the guy that you're dating that his sexual fantasy cannot be manifested with you. What is he going to do? He's going to be turned off. He will have reduced intention and willingness to be around you because everyone wants their fantasies to be fulfilled, especially sexual fantasies. So this fusion to the sexual persona that then is connected to your sexual fantasy, it's a very strong fusion that's very difficult to break. And that's why we spent all this time, all those videos, to first unpack this notion of a sexual persona, to give you all the points of reflection so that the moment that we're going to deconstruct it, that you're going to know why you're doing it. Because we're trying to deconstruct, to dismantle psychological mechanisms that are glued together through a hypnotic mechanism of a sexual fantasy and a sexual persona. And to break it all apart, we need mindfulness, sexual mindfulness. So we need a slowing down of how you experience sex. We need to introduce emotional tracking so that you actually track how you feel. You step outside of the hypnosis. You step outside of the fusion and you begin to notice how it feels prior to acting out your sexual persona. So prior to having sex through the sexual persona. So if you're a bottom, notice how you feel before it happens. Then when it happens, and then after it happens. And if you are inside of a sexual persona, you will notice that there will be a discrepancy. There will be a contradictory experience that initially it will feel great, but later it will be proven to be abusive, to be actually hurting you, to create a complex negative emotion, guilt, regret, and maybe even anger and self-hate after you've acted out the sexual persona. And this is the greatest power I think that we have in dismantling this sexual persona, because what you'll notice, if you keep feeling through the experience of the sexual persona in action, that there is a really big high at the beginning, but it's a very steep low. And if you allow yourself to feel it, you'll be surprised. And that surprise can be the starting point where you open up this understanding of what's happening with sex with more detailed orientation. And you recognize that when you slow it down and you become present to your feelings, to your internal dialogue, you'll notice that there's a lot going on there that may be important to feel, to understand, to reflect on, because that is those other parts of you that are non-sexual persona that are wanting to speak with you at that moment, and you are disowning them. And this is the beginning often for why many gay men decide to look into this area and to expand from this. And men see that there is a place of transformation hiding here, where you see that most of the sex that you crave is actually abusive, that the sexual persona is actually abuse, that we are enacting onto ourselves without checking in with the entire life cycle of the acting out of the sexual persona. It's a very steep high at the beginning, but also very low crash, and then abuse, and the trauma cycle, and then acting sensation seeking out through the search for humiliation and submission fantasies. So I hope that this series of videos about the sexual persona are helping you see that there is an opportunity for transformation for you. There is an opportunity for love, for extraordinary friendships. But this thing that we're talking about here is what has stood in the way for you, for all of us, and will continue to stand in the way to a degree that you let it stand in the way, because it doesn't have to. So I hope this has been useful for you. I wish you all the best in transcending your sexual persona. It took me a while to do it. It was not easy, but I did it. And the world is so much more beautiful because of it. I am no longer held back by any of the variables about tops or bottoms. I feel so much better, so much more healthy in my gay consciousness. And that's why I want the same for you. And that's why I chose to talk about this topic across 4 videos. So please take the ideas from this video and try to implement them to the best of your ability. If you have questions, if you have any comments, please put them below. And I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next video. And if you are interested in more, if you want to meet gay men in a loving way, join us at the Big Gay Family social program. And to do that, visit the website biggayfamily.com. Okay, my friends, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.